This video is going to be part one of an offensive analysis that I'm trying to complete during the bye week for the Ravens leading up to their Week 15 matchup against the Giants. In this, I'm going to make the first ones quite simple. It's going to be focused on what used to be gimmies for the Ravens offense, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1 option concepts where Todd Monken would go hurry up and Lamar Jackson would execute a read option play out of 11 personnel, 12 personnel, whatever, and we would typically pick up the first down with a high degree of certainty. Now, the Ravens are number 3 in the NFL this year on third down conversion rate, behind only Tampa Bay and Kansas City. In fact, I think the Ravens are at 46.7%, up almost 6 points from their third down conversion rate in 2023. So there still is a lot of high level of efficiency, don't get me wrong. These in particular in the last 3 weeks, in my opinion, have become less so. And what I mean, and we'll get into the film here in a minute, what I mean is situations where it's 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 7, and we turn it into a 3rd and 1 with a gain of some sort. And Todd Monken has us hurry to the line and execute a read option play, typically with an arc release by a wide receiver and or tight end. Lamar Jackson and our running backs and offensive line, in my opinion, in the last 3 weeks have not been executing this concept with as high a degree of reliability. I think a lot of the onus on that is predictability. I believe, in my opinion, that the defenses that we have faced in the last 3 weeks have been really good at identifying that pattern when we hurry up to the line. It may seem like a simple point. I want to show some film that I think gets that message across, and here's how I'm going to approach it. I'm going to show you some 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, and then show you some 2nd and 10s and 1st and 10s. And you can see the difference in how some of the edge defenders attack the mesh point or don't, and then also how we read it at the quarterback position. So the first one I'll focus on is actually one that I've talked about a little bit in the video last week after our loss to the Eagles. This is a 3rd and 1. We've gone hurry up. So 3rd and 2, excuse me. So Henry's not on the field. Now, perhaps he should be. In some of these, to be honest with you, that might be one of the larger points, is maybe Derrick Henry should be on the field some in these 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7 situations. Now, we do end up picking this up, but I don't think that we have to expose Lamar Jackson in order to get that done. This is, in fact, the read man here on the left-hand side of the screen. And check out Nelson Aguilar's stance. I'm not downing Aguilar, but this is consistent. Every time you see this play out of 11 personnel where we hurry up to the line of scrimmage, Aguilar is in this stance and takes a slow release to execute an arc block on the nickel defender and or the safety rolled up. And in this case, Lamar decides to keep it. I think it's got to be an auto give. And I did talk about this. I would be a fan of us just stepping Aguilar out to the edge defender. He's going to lose that battle, yes, but essentially act like a speed bump and force the edge defender, outside linebacker, to declare from that wide alignment. Basically, line up tighter such that you can actually tackle the running back, or we're just going to give it on the 3rd and short, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and hopefully let the running back get a first down. And again, this speaks to my point, and I think that a lot of people have discussed, particularly since the loss to the Eagles, is maybe Derrick Henry should be on the field more. Maybe in some of those situations, he can't play every single snap. I get it, because it's a long season, number one. Number two, Justice Hill gets a lot of things done, like you see here. This is, in fact, a 3rd and 1 against the Chargers. The give to Justice Hill that results in a 51-yard touchdown. It's a dual read concept. I'm a little bit more of a fan of this than I am the arc release, where Aguilar essentially does nothing. I mean, he is tasked with releasing outside of the outside linebacker, edge defender, not touching him, basically, going to get the nickel defender in case Lamar keeps it. I'll show you a couple of iterations of it. Here, I don't think it has been as effective. Check out this one. The way that the Chargers play this is kind of old school, meaning they run at the quarterback to force a give read. As such, likely is going to go underneath. It's a give read to Justice Hill, and he ends up taking this to the opposite side because there's a lot of congestion. Things have kind of been stacked up in there. Gets you to end zone angle so you can see it. He ends up taking it to the house. Pretty much finishes things off, even though they were able to hold on to the ball and score at least one more time. End zone angle, same play, 3rd and 1. Like I said, we're deep into the game, and it's a dual read concept. So likely is moving across. He's reading the edge defender. The edge defender's off screen here to our right. Likely is also reading that player. If Lamar was reading this guy, theoretically it'd be a keep read, but the Chargers, have stacked it so that essentially they've given them an edge defender in the form of, I believe that's Bosa, and then also an inside linebacker, Henley, lined up on the edge. Give to Hill. He makes the safety miss. This has been a great short yardage play for us for a long time, from different personnel groups, different formations, even kind of predating Todd Monken. Now, the hurry-up element to it, it did not predate him. We were rarely in hurry-up under Greg Roman, but that concept is one that we've used a lot, and it's been to great effect. Compare that one and one that I'll show you a little bit later against the Chargers, where Khalil Mack is able to force a keep read by Lamar and then track him down. With some of these 1st and 10 situations. This is a 1st and 10 against the Steelers. We've gone unbalanced. It is an option dual read concept whereby Lamar and Ricard are both reading the outside linebacker. It's Herbig. He is head up on the tight end. That is, by the way, a tight end here with 2 tackles on the same side to the offensive line's right or left on the screen. I'll slow it down so you can see Ricard loop around. You actually kind of see Ricard even dip inside like he's going to block him and then veer to the outside. I also think that there's something to be said about Henry being the running back there. I'd like to see us run this more often. I don't know about you. I'd like to see us run the option even earlier in the game. It doesn't have to be for me on a 3rd and 2. It certainly doesn't have to be in the 3rd or the 4th quarter. That's on a 1st and 10. I gave it to you that angle because really the end zone angle, in my opinion, gives you a great view of what the dual read concept can look like. That particular instance happens to be unbalanced. 2nd and 10, Lamar is going to keep this one. It's out of 11 personnel, but we've got Andrews and Bateman up there, top of the screen, stacked next to each other. Read man is Herbig, stepping down violently. Once again, it's Henry. So could be related to that. Could be one of the factors that's causing him to step down in such a distinct or abrupt pattern. Lamar is clearly reading it and reading it correctly. Replaces the OLB. Depending on what your aiming point is. Some would say 2 yards outside the outside shoulder of where the OLB was, whatever. Essentially, he's replacing him, gets 7 yards, gets tackled by Minkah Fitzpatrick. 3rd and 3, the very next play, by the way, and we run the option again at Herbig. In my opinion here, this is almost functioning like an auto give, and this is what I would advocate for us doing a little bit more often. I think Derrick Henry's one of the best short yardage runners in the history of the NFL. I'm sure that conversion rate, there's probably guys that are better. But for what he gives you as far as attention, forcing the defense to suck down, to stop the run. Now, granted, Pittsburgh is in a too high safety look here. So they're kind of seeding the first down. I gather that and I understand it. I would say that this would be a better option for us, a better choice, I guess I should use, than substituting in another tight end or 2 and Ricard. If we're going to go hurry up and run an option concept, in my opinion, I'd like Henry to be on the field, although we do have film of Justice Hill busting a 51-yarder against the Chargers defense. That happens to be 5 yards on a 3rd and 3. Same play from the end zone angle so you can see it. A little bit of a variation here for Andrews in terms of how he blocks this, how he deals with the edge defender. Let me pull this over a little bit for you guys. You can see him. It actually looks like his right arm is bothering him or something. And he ends up just slapping Herbig past. Henry gets 5 yards up the middle. By alignment, this looks like a give to me. On a third and short. If it's 1st and 10, Lamar's got shown the ability to read it and read it accurately for the most part. I do think there's been multiple misreads in the last 3 to 4 weeks. I'll show you one here coming up. But any leverage at all, any seam at all for Derrick Henry on a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, I like our chances. I don't know about you. I certainly like our chances with Lamar keeping it out on the edge as well, if he's read it correctly and there's no one there to pursue him from an inside-out angle. 1st and 10, still against the Steelers, and we go 12 personnel. So, again, we're using this to compare how teams defend the option when they don't know that it's coming. Now, TJ Watt gets some communication from Patrick Queen. And so I think they have an idea. TJ Watt is trying to step in to force Lamar to keep it and then step back out, veer back out to go get him. Essentially, he's baiting Lamar. Lamar doesn't fall for it, gets the ball to Henry correctly, ends up being a 7-yard gain. So why do I bring these up? These that are not third and short situations, because I don't think the defense knows that it's coming. Not with certainty. I think the predictable nature of our offense at times here in the last 3 to 4 weeks has contributed to the inefficiency. I led with the 11 personnel arc release option against the Eagles that Lamar actually did convert on a 3rd and 2. He fumbled. And now I'm going to parlay that into the same concept. The same exact play, from the same exact formation. You've got Aguilar to the downside of the screen. It's a 3rd and 1 out of 11 personnel. And there's the read man. It's Khalil Mack. You guys probably remember or recall this play. Arc release by Aguilar to go get the frontside inside linebacker. Lamar keeps it. I think this should be an auto give. Yes, Khalil Mack is stepping down. With Derrick Henry back there, I think we can convert this with an extremely high or elevated level of execution because of Derrick Henry's ability to just fall forward. If we can get him to the line of scrimmage untouched, which we generally will. It's the end zone angle of the same play. It's not unbalanced. If we were in 11 personnel on the previous play, then we go hurry up, obviously we have to be in 11 personnel on this play. There really is no other option here for who to put there. Theoretically, you could put Mark Andrews there and go twins to the field. So you could essentially invert or switch these two guys' alignment, but Aguilar would be off screen to our left, the offense is right, with a wider alignment to hopefully pull Derwin James and the nickel defender out of the box. As it stands, Aguilar essentially does nothing but arc release outside. Khalil Mack doesn't even see him. And what I mean by that is Khalil Mack is ignoring him. There is no second thought in Khalil Mack's mind at all about whether or not this is option football. And it's a great thing that we are reading it generally. For me, this is close to being, okay, legitimate pull read. But these teams know that it's coming because of the formation, because of the hurry-up nature, because of Aguilar's stance, in my opinion. No other situation does he use that stance. For my money, I'd like to see us just go ahead and dig the edge defender out of there, combo up however we're going to combo up, and then let Henry figure it out. It would almost work out like duo with a base or solid call against the backside D end to OLB. Yes, Aguilar is going to lose that matchup, as is pretty much any receiver in the NFL. He'll essentially be a speed bump for a guy like Khalil Mack, but I believe that could give Derrick Henry enough space, enough of a lane, leverage, whatever you want to call it, to pick up the first down. I believe that teams understand exactly what we're doing in some of these moments. This is a very simple example of it here against the Chargers, and then also against the Eagles. I'll show that one again here in a moment. But it can be extrapolated out to other situations as well. There are other moments where we are predictable based upon formation and play call, and some of the first or second plays we're using out of each formation, they have worked for the large part of the year, and we've generated explosive play calls out of them. But in the last 3 weeks, things have been different. Lamar's efficiency as a passer, he does have 6 touchdowns in our last 3 games, but his completion percentage, I believe, is just under 61%. Drastically different from what we saw earlier in the year. Yards per attempt and yards per completion are also down. It is my theory that, I don't know what percent I can apply to this, something above 30 to 40% of the impact is other teams have a really good idea about what's coming depending on the situation. You could see the Steelers, in my opinion, identifying things, the Eagles as well, the well-coached defenses in the league, particularly ones that have veteran staffs. They're going to be able to identify formation and play patterns, and I think that teams have been doing that a lot more recently. We're going to circle back here to the play against the Eagles just because of how familiar it was to the one that I just showed you against the Chargers. There's Aguilar releasing to the outside to go get Dejan. Justice Hill downhill on the 3rd and 2. Lamar keeps it, gets the first down, does have a fumble that we're fortunate enough to recover. I do think that option football is a layer that we have that other teams do not. It's not that there aren't other teams running option in the NFL. We just faced the Eagles, and they run a shit ton of it with Jalen Hurts. RPOs is a big part of their package as well. Lamar in the option game, in my opinion, can make things happen with his legs. if we allow him to read it on 3rd and short, 3rd and 2, even in some cases 3rd and 3, I would be more comfortable if we just get the ball to Derrick Henry and force teams to stop him, but not do it out of 22 personnel, not sub. Let them get their package defense on the field. If we're going to do hurry up, which is what Todd Monken generally wants to do, in my opinion, it would make more sense to have Derrick Henry on the field on 2nd down to prepare for that. There's a 3rd and 4. I think we're down 18-10 here against the Steelers. This is not an RPO in the traditional sense. So it is kind of unfortunate that Macari and Stanley ran into each other, knocked each other down. Macari stumbles forward and gets called for lineman downfield when he, clearly didn't have any impact on the play at all. I'm not saying that it shouldn't have been called. It's just unfortunate, rare happenstance for us in the way that it occurred on this play. We've been called for lineman downfield before, and it's been somewhat legitimate. Watt has been doing this multiple times in this game, veering inside and then veering back upfield to Lamar. He's trying to force a keep read and then go pressure and or sack/hit Lamar. It's an amazing play that Lamar is able to execute this on a 3rd and 4. Numbers-wise, the Steelers are pretty well matched up, 3-on-3 up here to the top side. So pre-snap, Lamar can't just say, hey, I'm going to throw the bubble out here. There is an attached bubble here. So, yes, technically it's considered an RPO. But when I say not in the traditional sense, what I mean is running back cross and face and someone from the bunch running a slant to essentially get into that vacated area by the inside linebacker if the inside linebacker was to go with the running back on a potential give. I would call that a traditional RPO at this point, although this bubble iteration of it was probably around earlier than the slant RPO replace that so many teams run. Lamar makes a unbelievable play. Unfortunately, doesn't count when you get the end zone angle. It's actually kind of funny the way he flips the football out there. Watt is the read man. Normally, he would go straight at the outside hip of Lamar to force a give read. They kind of changed things up a little bit in this game, they being the Steelers. Lamar is able to escape. Almost this kind of like, I don't want to say lackadaisical, very relaxed, the way that Lamar threw that football downfield. He almost makes everything look easy, really. Gets it to Aguilar. It's really, I hate to use the word unfortunate again, but for him to have made that catch after some of the high-profile drops or opportunities that were there for him to make plays, and he didn't take advantage of them, let's put it that way, if we don't want to characterize some of them as drops, for him to make that catch and then it doesn't count kind of summarizes 2024 so far to a certain extent. I'll try to do stuff like this throughout the week on 3rd down. The one that I'm going to put out for Tuesday is on pass plays, some of Monken's favorite pass concepts on 3rd down, 3rd and medium, 3rd and long, and even a couple of 3rd and short situations. I do feel like, I've stated it multiple times, teams are recognizing our tendencies. This is one of them. I felt like made the point in the most obvious fashion. Forgive me that it took so long to get those thoughts across. I think we need more varied calls, also more versatility in terms of what running back is on the field on a 2nd down, planning for that 3rd down play if we want to hurry up. It's my opinion that there are times where we could ride Derrick Henry's unique talents a little bit more than we have in some of our losses this season. Excuse me, I don't want to paint it with such a simple brush such that, hey, if all we got to do is give Derrick Henry the ball 25, 27 times, and we're going to win every game. No, that's not the way it works. Teams identify situations and take away certain options because that's what we've put on film. That's what the tendency has been. In my opinion, Derrick, if we're going to have tendencies, if teams are going to see those things anyway, I'd like for Derrick Henry to get the football in some of those 3rd and 2 situations so Lamar is not as exposed and is not needed as often to try to convert those. This is my first look at some of the 3rd down situations where when we face the good defenses in the playoffs or later here in the season, we're going to have to convert. And at 46% for the year, being 3rd in the NFL certainly looks pretty good. Nonetheless, I still do have some concerns about the predictability of some of our play calls, some of our formations, which flow from our personnel groups. I appreciate you guys' time, man. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. Number 1. Number 2, if you have other idea for offense/3rd down analysis, something I could focus on later in the week, please let me know in the comment section. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at the offense, particularly 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, where we go with option situations or option concepts, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.